Right, we thought little tiny place, nothing to see here. Well, imagine our surprise when we walked out this morning and discovered there's a town in this town. In late August and early September of 2019, we took a road trip through 4 provinces in eastern Canada: Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island. In this episode, we'll travel to Moncton, Fredericton, Grand Falls, and more. Well, here we are in front of our beautiful accommodation at Fitzroy Hall in Charlottetown, just getting ready to leave town. We were heading this morning to Summerside, Prince Edward Island, and then we'll be going over the Confederation Bridge to New Brunswick, ultimately ending up in Moncton. It's been a nice stay in the Fitzroy Hall, wouldn't you say?
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was very nice. We were in Grand's Hideaway, I think was the name of the room. Is that it?
Best sleeps ever.
Yeah, very good sleeping in this place. Too good, almost.
And breakfast. We had pancakes with hot blueberry sauce on them today.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, yesterday was toast and ham, bacon, eggs. Yummy.
Yeah, lots.
Yeah, so you can't go wrong staying at Fitzroy Hall in Charlottetown if you have the opportunity. We recommend it.
Nice lady.
Yeah, very nice hostess as well. They treated us nicely.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna get on the road and find out what's next for us. We bid Charlottetown goodbye a little sadly. It was definitely a place we could have visited longer. But no looking back. It was time to find Summerside, and that would mean driving straight up the middle of Prince Edward Island before taking a hard left back to the ocean. Along the way, we continued to marvel at the bucolic nature of the island. The farms stretching for miles and the beautiful scenes we had to stop once or twice to capture. It didn't take all that long to get to Summerside. About an hour and a half, including stops to take photos and gawk at scenery. When we reached Summerside, we drove straight through town to the ocean. There we were greeted by the beautiful sight of sun glinting off wave tops. Looking closer, we saw this wasn't exactly the deep blue sea. The water was red and muddy. And along the edge of the water was the reddest sand we had ever seen. We walked along the beach and the nearby boardwalk, drinking it all in. It was a wonderful place to visit, and we were glad we had stopped. But downtown Summerside, it was quiet, eerily quiet, with only a few vehicles moving and almost no people. Today is Labor Day, and that means almost everything in town is closed. So there really wasn't anywhere we could go in and explore and look around except the donut place where we got some more coffee. So
That was it.
That was it. We're going to head toward the Confederation Bridge now. This will be our first time going over the Confederation Bridge, which is
very long.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the longest bridge over ice-filled waters in the world.
So people were telling us at breakfast this morning that at the end of the bridge, it's sort of a lot of shops and...
Oh, the tourist trap at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tourist trap. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's on this end, right? On
Yes,
the
it's
PEI end of it.
on.
So hopefully we can avoid that. And we hit the road once again, this time heading for the route that would take us across the Confederation Bridge and into New Brunswick. Before long, we found ourselves in the lineup edging toward the bridge's toll booths. Only the second toll bridge on our whole road trip. The Confederation Bridge lived up to its billing. It was long, really long. It seemed like it took forever to drive across it, though it was probably only about 10 minutes. The bridge undulated beneath us, adding some interest, and the ocean sparkled beautifully. We were a bit sad to reach the other side, but glad to see the big Welcome to New Brunswick sign indicating we were making progress. From there it was easy highway driving all the way to Moncton. We made it to Moncton, and what we've found so far is a city pretty much deserted. It's really quiet here, probably because of the long weekend, and almost everything in the downtown is closed.
Even the grocery store.
Yeah, even the grocery stores. Very different for us. We're used to endless commerce. We must have endless shopping, but yeah. So we're doing a little walk along the side of the river, the Petitcodiac River, I think it's called. They have a nice walkway beside the river. We're taking the opportunity to stretch our legs here. Our hotel is way the hell on the other side of town. It's about a 10-minute drive from our hotel to the downtown, so we probably won't be hanging out here quite as much as we would in some other towns, but got to check it out.
Yeah.
Got to do our duty and see what we can see. One of the things we saw was an amazing art gallery, the Starving Artist Gallery, right beside the river. We were initially attracted by the huge turtle made of what looked like trash. When we went inside, though, we discovered a huge gallery and studio complex that housed something like 200 artists. There were painters, photographers, jewelers, potters, and more. After the gallery, we took in some more attractions beside the river, then headed back to our hotel on the other side of town. So we decided to just spend the night in our hotel room watching reruns of sitcoms, I guess, so far. It's not bad, but our dining options were a little limited. We decided not to go into a restaurant. I think pretty burned out on restaurants at this point. Don't know about you.
Yeah.
So we decided,
a night off.
Yeah, a night off from the restaurant grind, which can get to you. And we went to a very exotic location here, a very exotic food place that they have here. I think Herbies? Is that how they pronounce it? Herbies. I've never heard of it before, but it was very special. And they do this funny thing with their fries. They make them all curly, and they call them curly fries. All right, I'm kidding. I know it's Arby's. We've had it Arby's before, but not very often and not for a long time. So we're just going to spend the evening quietly, as I said, and tomorrow we may or may not go and watch the rising tides, the world's highest tides in the Bay of Fundy or something like that at Hopewell Rocks. We may or may not. We've got to look that up tonight, do some research, see how far away it is, see when the low tide is.
Plan.
That was the plan. That's on our itinerary, is to go out there. But I think I have a question mark. So, got to do a little research this evening and see if that's what we're doing. Greeting, travel companions. This morning we come to you from the Hopewell Rocks, where we've come to see the world's largest tide. This is what they say it is.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd spare you this morning the usual opening thing from the car or from our hotel room.
Yes.
Instead, we got in the car and just drove out here. And now we're on the trail. There's a walking trail to get to the spot where you can see the tide.
You could take a shuttle too, but we chose to walk.
We did, yeah. The shuttle was $2, and you know, we can use that $2 for something more important. Diana saw a gift shop, so I suspect that's where that $2 will go.
Or more.
Or maybe more. $2 each, remember.
Uh-huh.
Plus tax. Anyway, we're walking the trail. It's supposed to be 15 minutes. We'll see. And then we'll look at some...
It's a nice trail.
Yeah, it's a very nice trail through the woods. Yeah. Very pleasant. And right now it's low tide. Tide is just past its lowest mark. And we'll see what happens during the day. It's not supposed to be full high tide until about 10 to 4 this afternoon. So we'll probably be hanging out here until that happens.
Maybe.
Later. So anyway, we're going to continue down this path and we'll check in with you down at the end. We continued down the trail, enjoying the brief stay in the forest, and emerged to see an awesome sight. Hopewell Rocks at low tide. We weren't the only ones taking in the sights. Even though it was early, there were people all over the beach. But this was low tide, so the beach and mudflats were huge, and there was lots of room for all the people. The rocks are over here behind us. You can see those are the rocks. They call them the teapot rocks or something because of the way they look. The tides coming in and the ocean erodes the bottom of the rocks, leaving the top intact, so it looks like it's standing on a little pillar. But you can see we're standing in a place right now that in just a few hours is going to be completely underwater. But it should be way up on the sides there, so this is pretty cool in a way. I'm not sure how long it's going to take before the water is up to where we're standing right now. That won't be the full tide. That'll probably just be not too long from now, maybe a couple of hours. But pretty neat down here.
That's the ladder, or the stairs. Huh?
Yeah, and those are the stairs. Those are the stairs we just came down, and you can see the viewing platform at the top, which is probably where we'll be standing when the full tide is in. So, having found ourselves in an environment unlike anything we had ever seen before, there was only one reasonable reaction: take a bunch of photos. So that's what we did. There were all sorts of caves and interesting rock formations to explore. Fortunately, the places that might be dangerous were roped off. I'm sure some tourists had done questionable things that led to those areas being roped off. I wasn't going to add to that number. All the while, the tide came in steadily. Some people dared the water to overtake them, and some of them weren't too lucky, walking away with wet feet. The tide really did move fast. We were down on the bottom of the ocean, and we saw the tide coming in super fast.
Yeah.
One fellow on the beach calculated that it was something like an inch every 1.4 minutes. So it comes up fast.
Yeah.
We'd watch rocks just disappear before our eyes.
It was cool.
It was really cool.
I love the rock formations along. I think if you're in this area, it's really well worth coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
If you're here, do come and see this. It was something that I know I debated about whether or not I wanted to do, thinking it was a big tourist trap kind of thing, and I'm really glad I came. Yeah, there's not that many people. It's busy, but you know, we're after a long weekend and people are back at work, so it's not unmanageable. Yeah.
We spent a couple hours down
We're at
there.
least a couple of hours.
Yeah.
It's about 3 hours now since low tide. We're gonna have a bite to eat, then we're gonna go back and watch the tide come in until it reaches high tide.
No, we're gonna go back up to the top and look in the gift store.
The gift store?
And then come back down and watch all.
Okay, I changed my mind about this place. After a pleasant lunch, we did indeed head back up the trail to the dreaded gift shop, which wasn't bad as far as gift shops go. As usual, though, I left the shopping to our expert. I was more interested in the interpretive center next door, so we spent some time there too. When we got back, we were surprised to see that the beach we had walked on a few hours ago was gone, replaced by muddy ocean water, nearly immersing the rocks that had towered over us that morning. Amazingly, the tide had come in by something like 40 feet.
It was good.
It was pretty cool.
It was a good way to spend a day.
Yes, but if you do come here at low tide so you can walk down on the ocean floor.
Yeah, it gives
way better.
Much better experience.
Yeah, than just hanging out watching the water rise up at the top.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pile into the road trip mobile head back to Moncton and see if we can find something to eat. We returned to find Moncton completely transformed from the city we had visited the day before. Where the streets had been empty, now they teemed with life, people, and action. We wandered the streets for a while, taking in the newly energetic city, before finding a brew pub, the Pump House Brewery, where we could have some pizza and beer. Just our luck, they were celebrating their 20th anniversary. So this morning, what are we doing this morning? We are off to Grand Falls, New Brunswick, which will be a stopover point on our way back to Quebec.
We're going to stop in
Fredericton. We're going to make a stop in Fredericton partway and take a look around there. We probably won't be there for very long, a couple of hours maybe.
Walk across the bridge. There's supposed to be some bridge that you walk across. It's
depending on where it is,
in
relation to where we are. But for now, let's hit the road. And hit the road we did. It took only minutes to get back on the highway and to find ourselves, again, surrounded by trees and water. It was a beautiful day for a drive, though, and we soon pulled into Fredericton, the capital of New Brunswick. Fredericton turned out to be a really neat city, very much our cup of tea, with lots of old stone buildings, funky shops, street art, interesting people, and even some art galleries. We explored happily. Of course, one does not explore with no fuel, so we stopped into a friendly coffee shop and had a coffee and a treat before heading toward the Fredericton Railway Bridge, something we had been hoping to check out. No, not that bridge, though it was fine as far as bridges go. We were heading toward a much longer and more historic bridge that crossed the St. John River. It took us a few minutes and a bit of a walk to find it, but we did find it. Lucky us, the bridge was under construction, but that didn't stop us or the several dozen other people walking, running, or cycling across the bridge. Some of them were pretty competitive too. Just over half a kilometer long, the bridge formerly supported trains, but since 1997, it has been reserved exclusively for people power. We walked from one end to the other, stopping, of course, to take a few photos. Heading back from the bridge, we visited one of the coolest galleries of the whole trip. This was Gallery 78. Too bad we can't show you around inside. It was super cool and well worth a visit. We rounded out our time in Fredericton doing a little shopping and taking in some of the neat old houses that lined the streets. There were a lot of great sights to take in. All too soon, we were back on the road to Grand Falls. Fredericton was definitely a place where we wanted to stay longer, and we'll almost certainly visit it again. Yes, we made it to Grand Falls.
Haven't been out there yet, though.
Haven't really ventured forth in the town. We just came here and immediately checked into our charming and quaint B&B. Mm-hmm. And it's very nice. Seems like a nice place, very comfortable so far. A little windy and...
very windy and dark.
Kind of crummy outside. The sky got very dark on our drive here, and it rained a little bit even. So
yeah. Didn't it rain when we came down?
Exactly the same stretch of highway that it rained like terribly
bucketed
on us when we came down. Now on our way back, it rained on us again. So I'm starting to think that this stretch of highway has something against us.
Just rains.
It just rains. Yeah, that's what it does. Tomorrow, we're going to get up, and we're in no hurry to get going because we're just going back to near Quebec City tomorrow night to stay the night before we fly home on Friday. So we don't really need to be there early.
No.
Can't check in anyway if we get there early, so we'll probably hang out here in the morning a little bit.
See what's around.
See the sights.
It's supposed to be waterfalls around here somewhere.
The Grand Trickle.
The Grand Trickle.
We don't know what the falls, but apparently they're lower at this time of year than they are in the spring when there's a big runoff.
Open,
yeah, unless they decide there's been a big rainfall and they open them up. But we'll find out tomorrow. Mm-hmm. For now, we're just going to relax in our bedroom, maybe watch some movies.
Yeah, they had, what are they called?
I don't remember.
Tapes?
Oh, yeah, it's some sort of disc thing you put in a player. Not really familiar with it, but...
we'll figure it out.
Ancient technology, but we'll figure it out. We're resourceful like that. Well, greetings and good morning from Grand Falls, New Brunswick. We are just walking along a path trying to find the Grand Falls that give this place its name. We just had a good breakfast at our B&B and checked out there. That was the Maple Tourist House Home Inn thing. I can't remember the name exactly, but I'll put it up for you because I highly recommend it. It's a great place to stay if you happen to be driving through Grand Falls, New Brunswick.
Nice lady.
Yeah, very nice woman runs the place. Good conversation at breakfast. A really tasty breakfast. I had French toast and bacon. Diana had, what did you have?
Scrambled eggs and bacon and toast.
Scrambled eggs, bacon, and toast.
She had yogurt and muffins.
Yeah, yogurt,
and
muffins,
buns,
little cinnamon buns. It was
cheese and
cheese. Yeah.
way too much fruit.
Homemade
And lots of
jams.
fruit.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah,
Definitely go there.
got to go for a walk afterwards.
Yeah, that's why we're going for a walk. But seriously, folks, we actually came here last night. We did nothing. We just stayed in our room, watched a movie, and now we regret it because
Big regrets.
big. We take it all back. We're re-examining our lives in
We
detail.
thought it was a gas station in Tim Hortons, but
That's right. We thought, little tiny place, nothing to see here. Well, imagine our surprise when we walked out this morning and discovered there's a town in this town. And so we're going to take a look around. We're going to find the falls. We're going to explore the town a little bit before we hit the road to Quebec City.
look what we found.
What we had found was a rocky gorge with the famous waterfalls the town was named after. The gorge also featured a high bridge and some really neat rock formations. Of course, we felt duty-bound to take several photos of the area. What we hear is that the falls right now are at basically a trickle compared to what they are when they have the spring runoff. They just let a little bit through here right now unless there's a heavy rainfall or some other reason to open up the, I don't know what it is, a spillway? Yes, the spillway. We watched the water for a while, mesmerized, then took a few more photos before getting back on the path. Now it's time to explore the town. We're gonna paint the town red.
No.
Got a light shade of red?
No.
Pink?
Pink.
We're going to walk up and down the streets, I think.
Yeah, that's better.
Whatever shade we finally chose, we discovered that Grand Falls was a tidy, attractive little town with a leafy, cool boulevard, beautiful public art, and, yes, stores to poke around in. We even found an art gallery that we spent some time visiting. All too soon, we were back on the road and headed for Quebec. We did have one more discovery up our sleeves, however, a quick stop in Riviere de Lune, Quebec. We didn't stay long, just long enough to wander the main street, poke in a few shops, and have a coffee and a snack. But it was a sunny afternoon, and we enjoyed our brief time there. And then, it really was time to bring it all to an end.
We've been on the road for how long now?
Over 2 weeks.
This is our last.
Well, 3 weeks since we left home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is our last night, so it's a little bittersweet. It's one of those, it's good to go home, but I don't want to go home kind of situations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so...
But you need a haircut.
Definitely need a haircut. Looking like a damn hippie.
You do.
And these, I tell you, I just keep getting my hair in my eyes, and it's really annoying.
It's your eyebrows.
Okay, well, then it is time to go home so we could do without these random insults.